this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
The thing about AI for business, it may not automatically fit the way your business works. At IBM, we've seen this firsthand. But by embedding AI across HR, IT, and procurement processes, we've reduced costs by millions, slashed repetitive tasks, and freed thousands of hours for strategic work. Now we're helping companies get smarter by putting AI where it actually pays off, deep in the work that moves the business. Let's create smarter business. IBM.
Happy Earth Month! Garnier is proudly partnering with the National Park Foundation, the official nonprofit partner of the National Park Service. Garnier's support of the National Park Foundation's Service Corps program is enabling young adults and veterans to help care for and enhance the national parks that we all love. Want to lend a hand? Explore Garnier's partnership with the National Park Foundation and learn how you can help support our national parks at garnierusa.com/NPF.
Shake it up with Vital Protein's Collagen and Protein Shake. It's a high-quality, ready-to-drink shake with 30 grams of protein and 10 grams of collagen to support healthy hair, skin, nails, bones, and joints. With 0 grams of added sugar, no artificial sweeteners, and absolutely no carrageenan, it's a clean, delicious way to fuel your day. So you don't just age gracefully, you age powerfully. Vital Proteins. Stay vital. Learn more at vitalproteins.com.
If you're a QuickBooks customer looking to grow your business without the growing pains, you need the Intuit ERP. Upgrade to Intuit Enterprise Suite in a matter of hours. It's the AI-native ERP from the makers of QuickBooks. Learn more at intuit.com/ERP.
Welcome back to Between Us Doctors with Dr. Terry Dubrow and my buddy, genius, Dr. Robert Schwartz.
Pleasure to be here, and thank you for the intro. No one else introduces me that way.
How are you doing?
I'm
good?
great. I'm really happy with everything.
Okay,
right
you're
now.
enjoying the plastic surgery practice amongst the wild, crazy things going on in our plastic surgery world right now between looks maxing and deep plane facelifts and fascial release of LeAnn Rimes. You believe, Rob, the BS that's somebody, I think let's dedicate this next podcast to calling out some of the cool stuff that's available in plastic surgery, but a lot of the BS that people should avoid and know about, right?
I think we should dedicate, this podcast in its entirety to this. Because I don't you think, look, I think you and I are of a similar mindset of I don't care. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm just going to tell the truth. And I think there's a real lack of people telling the truth about plastic surgery, this whole industry, everything kind of associated with it. It's so much hype and lying and
BS. By the way, let's be honest.
BS.
It's greed-based. Let's be honest. We were part of that culture the first 5 years, maybe 10 years of our practice. We were worried about paying our overhead and getting big practices going. It's a lot easier. I think it's a lot easier to be at this stage of our career and say, we're going to tell the truth. I think I always did tell the truth, and I know you always did too. But I think our sort of propensity to kind of exaggerate or go with the flow, even though we knew it was BS, was elevated the first 5 to 10 years of our practice. True? Oh, you don't want to go there. Maybe
that's
not.
That's a good question. I can tell you one example, and for me, and we were in this one together, actually.
Tell me.
Very early on in our career, the N-Light.
Oh,
remember that?
There was a laser that came out. It was like a $270,000.
If it was even a laser.
Yeah. I'm not sure it was in the wavelength. It was $270,000. And by the way, we will pull this back to like the new stuff going on right now. Have you heard of XERF, by the way? XERF, Rob. XERF is the new non-invasive facelift in a laser. Okay. And the things the claims that are being made everywhere about this XERF, it's like out of control. Okay.
It's the same claim that's been made for every new facelift in a laser since the N-Light till now.
Yes.
Weirdly enough, they're still facelifts.
Yeah, that's true.
Weirdly, yeah. So people are still undergoing expensive surgery because, for all the reported collagen that's been made by these machines in people's faces, I doubt in aggregate across the entire globe, an entire pound of collagen has been made ever.
Well, it's funny because the latest ad I saw, and Kim Kardashian, by the way, is behind. I'm not sure he must be getting paid by Zerf. I don't know for sure. I have no idea. But they're using her because I guess she did Zerf and she put it on her 2 billion follower Instagram or something. And the claim that I just saw today that says Zerf is appropriate for those who don't want to have a facelift yet, or those who have had a facelift and want to keep it looking the way it is. Basically, everybody. If you have a facelift,
right.
If you haven't had a facelift, it's perfect.
Right.
By the way, it's implying it's going to give you a facelift.
Yeah, look, all of these machines are appropriate, I think, for anyone who has several $1,000s that they don't want. There you go.
Right.
That's
Right. You know what
there's a reason. Look, so back to the N-Light, okay? Because I think that was a turning point for me. Now, I don't think I've ever really lied.
No.
I don't think I've misrepresented. I think I like to think I've always run an ethical practice. I've been honest with my patients, and I feel like I've always had the standpoint of, if I'm not going to either do it myself or I'm not going to do it on a loved one or offer to a loved one, I'm not offering it to a patient.
Okay.
That's always been my standard.
Okay, but how many times did we go to meetings in our first 5 years when some guy would get up and go, oh my gosh, if you put mesh, which is like super expensive lining in a breast, and with an implant, it'll prevent capsular contracture. And you went right back after seeing his study of 8 people in his practice that he said didn't develop
retrospective.
That he said didn't develop capsular contracture because he's been following for like all 3 weeks. And then you go back to your practice and go, oh my gosh, I'm going to start selling mesh because it's cool to do technically. It's expensive. It ups the price of the thing. And that guy said it works so ethically, I can feel okay about it because I went to the American Society of Plastic Surgery meeting and this guy told me it worked. And even though we knew scientifically, okay, that a study of 8 in some older guy's practice who's starting to slow down and trying to find a way to market his practice is probably worthless in terms of actual real results.
Not probably.
It completely is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not science.
Yeah. That's the problem. Yeah. So this N-Light was I'm not sure it looked
the
just
first laser, basically.
It was the first laser, and they literally, and it was a major company, okay, that came out with this machine. It was like a pharmaceutical company that no longer exists, I remember. And it came out with this laser that said it completely gets rid of wrinkles with 0 downtime. Like you can't even see that it's actually doing anything. There's no redness. There's no scabbing. There's no pain. There's no discomfort. And the reason why it had no recovery is because it didn't
do anything.
It didn't do anything.
Yes.
Remember?
And yeah, it didn't do anything. So,
it was a flashlight.
There.
It was a $275,000 flashlight.
You go inside and there's like a light bulb in there and like a fiber optic cable.
Okay.
But by the way, you couldn't buy the machine.
No.
You had to you had to have it brought into your office and they would charge you like per zap.
Yes.
So, and I remember you and the meeting was in Dallas where they introduced this and they had hundreds of plastic surgeons there introducing this.
Right.
And this was where I first heard the phrase, oh, it's been tested for years in Denmark.
Oh.
Remember that?
Yes.
And I go, ooh. And then it's only years later that I realized testing anything in a country without plaintiff's attorneys is worthless.
That's a very good point.
So it did nothing. And so, look, I feel like my failure in this was at the time, I don't think I was lying. I don't think I was ever intentionally deceiving patients on anything. And I don't think you were either.
No.
Though plenty of people have done this over the years. I really believed this thing. My failure at that point, I was very new in practice. This came out, I was maybe 2 years into my practice. And I hadn't realized the level of bullshit.
Yes.
That these companies are capable of.
Right.
And it did basically nothing. And later they revised saying, well, it doesn't really eliminate wrinkles. It makes wrinkles 50% better.
Right.
It didn't.
It didn't do
but
anything.
Even if it did, making a wrinkle 50% better when you think about it is useless
Yeah.
because you still have a wrinkle. No one ever comes in and goes, I like my wrinkles. I just want them to be 50% as deep.
Right. So I
It's
think
garbage.
the two things that are out right now that are so new that we really have no idea whether they work or not is Zerf, for sure. Correct? This new Zerf thing that they're saying it's expensive to do it and there's no downtime and it's giving you facelift. And then the other thing is, I think it's the deep plane facelift. It's the $250,000 to $500,000 facelift. Okay, that there are certain doctors that are on the list that are known to do a deep plane facelift. They're literally charging $250,000 to $500,000. Now, I saw a couple of patients the other day done by one of these $450,000 deep plane facelift. They were both incredibly unhappy, and they flew to another state to have them redone, and they each paid an additional $500,000. Okay, so they each paid over $1 million to have facelift surgery, and it just, I mean, at the end of the day, how much do you think people should pay for a facelift? A really well performed facelift.
I was going to say 50 to 100 at most.
Yeah, depending on the add-ons.
It's hard to justify anything. The reason people are paying, these guys are charging that much is because they can get away with it.
Right.
I think the mistake that people make is they, like in a lot of things, they associate price with quality.
Right.
So I'm not convinced that all of the people who are charging this much are in truth doing a true extended deep plane facelift.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about that.
That's true.
Because I think we talked on a previous episode that there are a bunch of people around me now who are suddenly doing deep plane facelifts that have never done it in 20 plus years of practicing.
Right.
I'm finding it really hard to believe that the results that they were getting before, which are remarkably similar to the results that they're getting now, are coming from some new technique that they've adopted. Right. The reality is you have no way as a consumer of knowing exactly what technique your doctor used in the OR.
It's
true. But
true.
Regardless, I don't fault these guys. If someone's willing to pay them that, go ahead. But if you think that you're getting something better by spending that much money,
right,
you're not.
What I've noticed is the holy grail right now is to do a facelift on a reality star or an actress or celebrity who's willing within the first month to come out and say, that doctor did me. Because you know how everybody looks brilliant in the first month after a facelift?
Yes.
Virtually,
just the right amount of swelling is a beautiful gift after a facelift.
Yeah. It's
that little bit of residual, like baby fat appearance to it.
So listen, you guys out there, don't be fooled by the $250,000 facelift. It is not a thing. You don't need to spend that much money to have a really well executed facelift, right? And then what about
exactly?
And what's going wrong with the blepharoplasties these days? Okay, the upper blepharoplasty. I mean, we've seen a lot of male celebrities have this blepharoplasty, meaning too much skin taken from your upper lid and look really weird. Okay. That's the thing about a blepharoplasty. It's a very simple procedure technically, but it's extraordinarily variable in terms of the result in many ways. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a deceptively simple operation.
Yeah.
Because it's a simple operation to do, but it's very unforgiving. Because a millimeter too much or too little skin removed. And look, too little skin removed, not the worst thing in the world because you can always take more. But a millimeter or two too much that you've taken. Yeah. And it's always a judgment call on this. And particularly in a man, your eyes look weird. And on a man, you look feminized. You can get away with it a little more on a woman, but not on a guy.
Right. So because we've talked about some of the celebrities that have, and we're not going to name names right now, but I will tell you, I was watching this news report yesterday while I was in the gym. And have you seen Bill O'Reilly?
Not recently.
Check out Bill O'Reilly.
Okay.
I have no idea if Bill O'Reilly has had upper and lower bleph and a facelift. I have no idea if he's had that or not. But look at Bill O'Reilly. Yeah. It's the upper lid syndrome, male blepharoplasty syndrome, disaster du jour, if you ask me. It's just, you know, you know what? The same 5 surgeons who are doing these deep planes on these reality stars who are coming out and talking about their face are doing these people too. It's the same people. Okay. So, you know, just because you've seen 1 or 2 good results doesn't necessarily mean everybody's having that. I always say, we talked about this last time, if you could see the 10% of our results that we're not happy, no one would ever have plastic surgery from any plastic surgeon ever.
Well, also, I think be very careful about looking at the results that you're seeing in people whose appearance is their brand.
Yeah.
Because those people have a strong incentive. First of all, you're never going to see them photographed in a way that is not optimal for their brand and their appearance. You're never going to see that. You're never going to see them unfiltered. You're never going to see them not perfectly lit. You're never going to see them without the right makeup on. You're just never going to see this level of celebrity that way. So when you're looking at this result where you go like, wow, that's the best facelift I've ever seen, it's not.
That's right.
It's a whole combination of things going on, and it's probably a good facelift. But if you think that any of these people are getting a result that is an order of magnitude better than the typical facelift, they're not, because biology doesn't permit that.
It doesn't. Okay, so but let's temper this with something positive. Okay, facelifts work.
Yeah,
it's a very good operation. Most plastic surgeons do a very conventional, adequate facelift. It should be between 30. You know, if you're in Missouri, there's a plastic surgeon in Missouri. I think he's yeah. But if you're in, you know, some part of the Midwest where things are less expensive, okay, maybe you pay $20 for a facelift. If you're in, you know, Beverly Hills or you're in Manhattan, maybe you pay a lot more. But at the end of the day, you know, we're all training at the same places. You know, we're all doing a lot of surgery, and you don't necessarily have to pay that kind of money. And when it comes to doing your upper lids, tell them to go light. You can always take a little bit more. So I think these are good operations, very good. But let's go back to the Zerf thing for a second. And then I want to talk about this LeAnn Rimes with the fascial release, which is, I just cracked up when I saw this. Okay.
Oh yeah.
But okay.
Yes, let's save enough time for this.
I know. Okay.
I need to have a moment to release my trauma over it.
Well, I think that fascial release is really just a wallet release of their cash. Don't you think?
Let's come back to that in detail, though. Too enjoyable.
Oh my gosh, GLP-1s are everywhere. I have so many friends on them. And I think not just the weight loss, but all the benefits, the cognitive effects, the cardiac benefits, all of it. And if you haven't heard of it, Ro offers the first FDA-approved GLP-1 pill for weight loss at the lowest cost around. The new GLP-1 pill has the same weight loss ingredient as the shot and packs comparable results to the shot. It can help patients lose 14% of their body weight in a year on average. That's one daily pill for fewer cravings and feeling fuller with an innovative new formula. The new FDA-approved GLP-1 pill is available at $149 for the first dose, in addition to your Ro membership fee, and $299 per month for the higher doses. The Ro Body membership includes access to FDA-approved GLP-1s, unlimited provider messaging, side effect management, and more. All for just $45 off your first month and $145 per month thereafter. The Ro membership fee includes the cost of GLP-1 medication. In addition to the newly approved pill, Ro also offers a full suite of the most effective brand name FDA-approved GLP-1s, all at the lowest cost. Ro offers the lowest cost GLP-1s, whether you're using insurance or paying cash. After your first online visit, if you're eligible for treatment, you can expect to start your medication in less than a week if paying cash, or about 2 weeks if using insurance. So many people have talked to me about this. Everyone's always asking, I heard Terry said he does it. I heard it. Yes, he loves the GLP-1s. You could hear him talking about it absolutely everywhere. So if you want to get involved, go to ro.co/between to see if you're eligible for the new GLP-1 pill on Ro. That's ro.co/between to get started on Ro. Go to ro.co/safety for box warning and full safety information about GLP-1 medications. Based on study in non-diabetics with obesity or overweight plus a weight-related condition with diet and exercise.
I'm Nikki, and sports have always been a part of my life. So when I was diagnosed with early breast cancer, I approached it like I was facing a tough opponent, always thinking about my next move. After initial treatment, I learned my breast cancer could still come back. My doctor and I chose Kisqali with an aromatase inhibitor as a next step.
Kisqali ribociclib 200 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for adults with HR-positive, HER2-negative, stage 2 or 3 early breast cancer with a high risk of coming back. Kisqali may cause serious skin reactions, liver problems, and low white blood cell counts that may result in serious infections. Life-threatening lung problems and abnormal heartbeats can occur. Your doctor should test your heart and blood before and during treatment. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening cough, chest pain, or dizziness. Before taking Kisqali, tell your doctor all your medical conditions, medicines you take, and if you're breastfeeding, pregnant, or planning to be, as it can harm an unborn baby. Common side effects include nausea, headache, and tiredness. Nikki is a real patient compensated for her time. Learn more at Kisqali.com.
The thing about AI for business, it may not automatically fit the way your business works. At IBM, we've seen this firsthand. But by embedding AI across HR, IT, and procurement processes, we've reduced costs by millions, slashed repetitive tasks, and freed thousands of hours for strategic work. Now we're helping companies get smarter by putting AI where it actually pays off, deep in the work that moves the business. Let's create smarter business. IBM.
Now, we all know women's basketball is the moment. This is Ashanti Plummer, and I'm here at iHeart. We have an amazing new podcaster who now happens to be a top WNBA draft pick. We're talking about my friend and co-host, AZ Fudd, of course. So congrats, AZ, from all of us here at iHeart and your friends over at Geico. We know your life's about to change. New city, new locker room, new home. It's exciting, and it's also a lot. But here's the thing. You're not doing it alone. Of course, you got your friends, your family, and your teammates. But you also got us here at iHeart Women's Sports, and you got Geico, who will be with you every step of the way. So while you're stepping onto a new home court, know you've already got a full bench and a gecko behind you. Congrats again to AZ Fudd. And if you're not already listening, go check out our podcast, Fudd Around and Find Out, on the iHeartRadio app or anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Let's wrap up with the Zerf thing, okay? Because I think you watch, and if you haven't heard of this XERF thing, you're about to. Because if you're listening to this podcast, your phone knows you're listening to it. Your phone is aware that we're talking about Zerf. So next time you mindlessly scroll, you're going to scroll by Zerfing, okay? But the results that are being promised right now, at least with my mindless scrolling when I'm doing it, when I'm working out, is it's very Enlighty. It's very sort of ridiculous. It's so ridiculously unrealistic and promising that, over promising that I have a buddy who just got it. And I was going,
He got it done, or he bought the machine?
He bought the machine. And I go, maybe I'll go have a couple of those.
Yeah.
I sort of, for a moment, I went, wait a minute. You've been down this road before. Yeah. I mean, but the truth is, it's funny. I interviewed on TMZ today, TMZ Live, me and Harvey. I love doing that. Harvey's fun and it goes viral. And if you're a narcissist and you love to do things in social media, nothing better than being on TMZ. And Harvey asked me about AI and medicine and AI and plastic surgery in the future. I realize, AI is developing and evolving so rapidly, right? That I actually think we are hopefully on the cusp of something that's going to give us skin tightening without having to take a scalpel to the skin and scissors and, bloodletting and all the things we do. It's got to happen. I mean, this thing is going to cure cancer and cardiovascular disease. I mean,
I actually don't know that.
You're not. You
and I have fundamentally different views about where AI is going. We talk about this a lot. No, I don't. It's not imminent, is what I'm saying. I can tell you, okay, from my experience, there are numerous problems with this. And I'm speaking as someone who spent 10 to 20 hours coding with AI this past weekend, okay? Not like, other people who use ChatGPT to ask burning questions like, how famous is Dr. Terry Dubrow?
By the way,
to which it goes, really? The difference in the last 3 hours? Really?
By the way,
so
full disclosure, I have asked ChatGPT that question. And you know what it says? You know what I love about ChatGPT? ChatGPT is so obsequious that it goes, oh, You're so famous. And it'll list this thing with, you've done this and you've done that. I'm going, oh, I love you, ChatGPT.
You have to tell it not to do that.
I know.
Oh, you don't want to do that.
No.
Yeah. So I spent a long time this week, and one of the things I'm working on is just organizing, 20 plus years of patient photos, right? And so these people who say like, oh, you can now go into Claude and type in what you want and it spits out a completed app for you. Yeah, no, you
not
can't.
That easy.
Not even close. And by the way, it does the kind of things that you really wouldn't want your surgeon doing. Like at one point, it deleted 10,000 photos.
Really?
Yeah, no, I got them all back because I know enough in this that I got to code this in such a way that there's a lifeboat, there's a way to get out. So I restored everything immediately as soon as I saw that it did this. But like when I go, hey, I think you deleted a bunch of photos that I needed, when like, no, you don't need those.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, I do. And then it goes, oh yeah, I can see why you would want them. I go, yeah, let's get them back. So that's fine when I'm deleting photos. It's not so fine when it goes, oh yeah, you know what? That was the liver, not the spleen. You're right. That's a problem.
Oh, when it takes out.
Yeah, when it takes out your liver and not your spleen or whatever.
The surgeon did that, right? What did they do?
Yeah, that's an actual story.
Yeah, a surgeon recently.
That one's really inexplicable.
Yeah, we don't want to scare the audience away from having surgery.
Well, you and I don't operate on the liver or the spleen.
No, well, we used to.
We did, and we never mistook one for the other.
I'm Nikki, and sports have always been a part of my life. So when I was diagnosed with early breast cancer, I approached it like I was facing a tough opponent, always thinking about my next move. After initial treatment, I learned my breast cancer could still come back. My doctor and I chose Kisqali with an aromatase inhibitor as a next step.
Kisqali ribociclib 200 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for adults with HR-positive, HER2-negative, stage 2 or 3 early breast cancer with a high risk of coming back. Kisqali may cause serious skin reactions, liver problems, and low white blood cell counts that may result in serious infections. Life-threatening lung problems and abnormal heartbeats can occur. Your doctor should test your heart and blood before and during treatment. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening cough, chest pain, or dizziness. Before taking Kisqali, tell your doctor all your medical conditions, medicines you take, and if you're breastfeeding, pregnant, or planning to be, as it can harm an unborn baby. Common side effects include nausea, headache, and tiredness. Nikki is a real patient compensated for her time.
Learn more at Kisqali.com.
The thing about AI for business, it may not automatically fit the way your business works. At IBM, we've seen this firsthand. But by embedding AI across HR, IT, and procurement processes, we've reduced costs by millions, slashed repetitive tasks, and freed thousands of hours for strategic work. Now we're helping companies get smarter by putting AI where it actually pays off, deep in the work that moves the business. Let's create smarter business. IBM.
I'm so excited to share that this podcast is sponsored by The RealReal, the world's largest and most trusted source for authenticated luxury resale. I'm obsessed with Prada, and there are great Prada finds on The RealReal. I just love scouring The RealReal for new pieces. And they add over 10,000 new arrivals every day. And they do their daily drops at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern. I shop and sell at The RealReal, which is great because I can use my earnings for something special and new to me. When you sell with The RealReal, they do everything for you, from photography and copywriting to shipping, pricing, and customer service. So you could just sit back and get paid. Plus, with over 40 million fashion lovers on The RealReal, your items will sell fast. The RealReal just makes it so easy. Resale is what they do, so you have time to do you. The RealReal is the most trusted name in authenticated luxury resale. With over 10,000 new arrivals daily, no one does resale like The RealReal. And now, get $25 off your first purchase when you go to therealreal.com/Dubrow. That's therealreal.com/Dubrow to get your $25 off. Start shopping now at therealreal.com/Dubrow.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
Have you seen this thing where, and I know you have, where LeAnn Rimes, was undergoing this intraoral, like temporal mandibular fascial release by the human garage practitioner. So have you seen this? This is a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And anyone listening to this, you really need to watch this video.
Yeah.
You need to appreciate this in its fullest.
Yes. So
yeah, I saw it.
There's this guy, who, as far as I can tell, doesn't have any formal training in any health field at all.
I believe he actually brags about that.
Oh, is that right? And
I think so.
Basically cures all that ails you, from the list are psychiatric issues to pure physiologic based issues to a whole host of other things, through a combination starting with fascial release, which is basically, at least for LeAnn Rimes' case, and you haven't seen this, you have to see the video. He takes.
You should probably describe what happens. Yeah, what happens in this video.
Yeah, you describe. You want me to describe, or you describe it?
Go ahead.
Okay, he takes.
Go ahead.
He takes his gloved thumbs. At least he had gloves on. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah. And he sticks it in LeAnn Rimes' mouth, way back along the upper portion of her palate, where the temporal mandibular joint is. And if you put your finger back there on each side, it's extraordinary. I did it last night. It's extraordinarily sensitive. It's one of those weird pressure points where even if you do it just lightly, it really hurts. Okay. But I guess what he does is, and I've now looked at a couple of these videos, he presses so hard that it sends you into some pain area that's so severe, it's almost like, taking, smoking, wart toad or toad juice, like a cycle, like the Mike Tyson thing, you go to these places and you've never seen these documentaries.
Yeah. And I have a very different Instagram feed.
Yeah. And, you could take this massive psychedelic and have like a 2-week trip, but it's so extraordinarily painful that virtually everyone he's done it on, and many of them famous, literally bawl their eyes out like they're babies. Yeah. And they purport to have like this almost post-procedure religious experience that cures them of. I mean, by the way, I looked this up in Open Evidence, which is an AI app that we as doctors have access to if you have an NPI provider number. And it is an accepted procedure in some literature for TMJ, for temporal mandibular disease of some kind. It is. I don't know how effective it is. Somebody said that it can give you a 60% improvement in some kinds of TMJ, but to attribute that treatment to fixing, childhood trauma, and that's what I guess LeAnn Rimes, and it is, and among other things, it's unbelievable. It's scary. I'm sure they're charging for this. It's celebrity based, in terms of its promulgation to others, and it's really out of control. Don't you agree?
I watched this video and my first thought was, oh. And by the way, Okay, first of all, it's extraordinarily painful.
Yeah.
Okay, so not surprising that it elicits tears, but there's actually more to it than that. And this is the genius of it, okay? Because what he's doing in there, among other things, is he is putting massive pressure on your medial pterygoid muscle, okay, which triggers the maxillary branch of the trigeminal. I don't want to make this too technical. It's a major sensory nerve in your face,
Right.
which has something called the trigeminovagal reflex. So when you stimulate this, it's like doing a major vagus nerve stimulation. So it immediately drops your heart rate and your blood pressure, which, coupled with the sudden relief of pain, your brain interprets as a major cathartic moment. There's nothing going on. You don't have childhood trauma stored in your jaw muscles or adult trauma. And if you have that much trauma in your jaw muscles, you need to seriously think about what you're putting in your mouth. Because this is just a scam.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, you're triggering a vagus nerve response that will make people feel like something has been released, like there's been a catharsis. It will make you cry. Okay, it will do this. You're not relieving any trauma from this. No one is healed of emotional wounds by this thing. Are there many places in the body that are scarier to operate on than the area around the TMJ and the neck, in the area of the cranial nerves and the carotid and the external jugular?
Yeah.
That is not an area for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
It really isn't. And this is someone who is applying major blunt force to those structures.
Yeah.
So I'm not holding back here because, frankly, this is disgraceful.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly dangerous.
Right.
So, first of all, there's a reason they tell you not to check your pulse by feeling your carotid artery. And that's because in some people it stimulates the vagal nerve. And in the wrong person, that causes a cardiac arrest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is not something you really want to have happen in any garage, even if it's a human garage.
Right. The vagal nerve slows down your heart rate. In fact, it does so paradoxically, meaning it's the weirdest thing. When you're super anxious or you're super scared by something, you would think you'd have a fight or flight response. Your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up. But weirdly, if your vagus nerve gets stimulated, paradoxically, it does exactly the opposite. It slows your heart rate so that your blood pressure to your brain is not supported and you pass out.
Yeah.
You get syncopal.
And it creates a simulated effect of a release of anxiety. It's the same thing like when people who have to speak in public take a beta blocker and it slows down their heart rate. You're not doing anything to their anxiety. It's just your brain is interpreting the fact that your heart rate isn't going up and you're not sweating as much as the fact that you're less anxious.
Yeah, it's
not curing your anxiety.
Right. It's kind of a defect of Mother Nature that you're so scared, maybe it's better just to pass out. Right?
Yeah.
It's I'm not sure evolutionarily why we're programmed that way, but it's certainly a defect in our system.
Yeah.
When you're scared, you should speed up your heart rate, get the hell out of there and go. But people paradoxically sometimes pass out, which is really weird. Okay.
Right. Well, which is not the end of the world, I guess, so long as that pass out isn't from your heart stopping.
Maybe it's a bear's about to attack you and you play dead.
Yeah.
Maybe you play dead. Maybe that is the move. Certainly if you're in a car accident and you fall asleep right before impact, it's been shown you'll probably have a lot less trauma.
The same way, I don't want to try and release and cure my childhood traumas by having a bear attack me.
That's very true.
But, for people who are considering this, let me just give you a brief list of what can go wrong from a lot of force in that area. Okay, so we've already talked about it can stop your heart.
Yep.
Okay, bad. If you have atherosclerosis in your carotid
That's
artery.
what I
You could
wondered.
break that off
Yeah.
and have an immediate stroke.
Yeah, send a clot to your brain. Yeah.
It can, and by the way, the stimulating the gag reflex does the same thing as this, which they're doing at the same time as well, because, you know, there's fingers just roaming over that whole area.
Right.
It can fracture a little bone at the base of your skull called the styloid process.
Ooh, not good.
Which, one, is incredibly painful, but two, it has this funny tendency when it gets fractured to cut through the carotid artery and the internal jugular vein, which would kill you instantly. You know, just stimulation of the vagal nerve is a problem. You can cause all kinds of nerve damage to the muscles that control your face and give sensation to it.
Yeah.
All of these things are known phenomena and known risks of doing this.
Yeah.
And so, first of all, no one should be doing this.
Right.
And by the way, yes, in some cases of TMJ, this kind of thing can make it better. I would say done by a qualified
orthodontic
surgeon. Yeah. But also, it can what they're doing can dislocate your TMJ or make a normal TMJ too lax that now it dislocates on its own, or it can fracture your TMJ.
Yeah.
So you don't want anyone doing this on you, least of all someone who is a self-trained whatever.
Self-professed practitioner.
Self-professed.
Yes. Of the arts.
So so look, I think part of the reason these things gain popularity is because people are, and I think justifiably, distrustful of the healthcare industry.
Right.
You know, I think certainly pharmaceutical industry, the FDA, certainly health insurance companies, and a lot of doctors have done things to cause that distrust.
Yeah.
And so I don't argue with that. In fact, in a lot of it, I agree with people. But the fact that you're distrustful of everything you hear about coming out of the medical industry doesn't mean you automatically trust someone who's not in the medical industry.
Very good point.
It doesn't make them more trustworthy. I would still trust science over a guy who's just going like, yeah, I taught myself this and I kind of, invented it.
Yeah, because I said so. Yeah.
Don't trust that less. We live in an age where it's easy to verify what people are saying.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a whole lot.
No, I think
do a little research in this.
I think it's very well
10
said.
minutes. 10 minutes. There's a good use for AI.
Right.
10 minutes on AI will tell you why you shouldn't do this.
That's true. Okay, we're going to wrap this up as a part 1. And when we come back as a part 2, we're going to talk about listener questions. We're going to answer a whole bunch of listener questions about submandibular gland shaving with a deep face facelift, the best procedures to have financially, and a whole bunch of other questions that we've been asked, okay? All right, so stay tuned for that.
At CVS, it matters that we're not just in your community, but that we're part of it. It matters that we're here for you when you need us, day or night. And we want everyone to feel welcomed and rewarded. It matters that CVS is here to fill your prescriptions and here to fill your craving for a tasty and, healthy snack. At CVS, we're proud to serve your community because we believe where you get your medicine matters. So visit us at cvs.com or just come by our store. We can't wait to meet you. Store hours vary by location.
Here's the truth. You could literally be adored by everyone and then come home and still get completely ignored by your own cat. It's classic cat behavior. But new Sheba Premium Puree is a lickable treat that changes all that. They're protein-rich, made with bone broth, and have the smooth, creamy texture cats go crazy for, especially when it's hand-fed. Yeah, it's more than a treat. It's a fast pass to favorite human status. So feed your cat Sheba and go from totally ignored to truly adored in just 12 days, guaranteed, or your money back. Learn more at Sheba.com.
This episode is brought to you by Bobcat. They started the compact equipment industry through grit, determination, and a whole lot of, think we can't do that? Watch us. They set standards, broke records, empowered people to build bigger and higher, to dig deeper, to make the impossible possible. We've all been there, with doubters telling us what we can't do. Who cares what they think? We don't need their permission or forgiveness. We just get things done. So go ahead and doubt me, judge me, challenge me. But when the time comes, watch me. Bobcat.
If you work in university maintenance, Grainger considers you an MVP because your playbook ensures your arena is always ready for tip-off. And Grainger is your trusted partner, offering the products you need all in one place, from HVAC and plumbing supplies to lighting and more. And all delivered with plenty of time left on the clock, so your team always gets the win. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, visit Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.